Damn. Yo, Moo Time here.
Yo, it's Michael McGarrahan.
Yo, Brendan Mascherino here.
Hola, it's Cam Crawford.
So, you guys might not expected this, but we're coming back to back with huge special guest. If you know, this man is a fellow Tommy boy. Why don't you introduce yourself?
What up, Nick West?
Yo!
God amongst men.
Exactly.
Yeah.
My man.
Yeah.
I'm
Go.
gonna give Nicholas West some props for deeming me the nickname Croft, the original.
Wow.
Exactly.
I didn't know
Good
that.
times, good times.
Oh yeah, classic. So Nick, apparently you got a story you'd like to tell us.
Just starting off with this story. All right, it's kind of irrelevant to anything we might talk about, but it's probably the best story I have to tell. This is in 8th grade in the wintertime.
Ooh.
I had my friend over, Nate Pratt. You guys probably remember him. Classic.
Yeah, never heard
Good
of him.
man.
But yeah, so we were chilling in my basement and we were bored. So we obviously start lighting things on fire because that's what you do. So
That's fair.
yeah,
Obviously.
there's a lighter in my basement for a candle. We had ping pong balls, so he's like, "Yo, look at this." He's
Dude,
lit.
that's a smoke.
Yeah.
Yeah, those
Yeah.
things smoke so much.
Let's hear it, Tommy.
And indoor, he's lit a ping pong ball on fire, and it's just like, dissolved itself and smoked. Everyone was like, "Dude, don't do that." And he did it anyways. Again, I was like, "All right, that's kind of cool. Let's go outside." So we take like a tinfoil thing and wrap it with ping pong balls.
Smoke
And then
grenade.
we do it, and
Yeah.
they create a smoke grenade. Oh
Yeah.
yeah, I have another friend, Cole, over here in my house too. This is a pretty important part later in the story, but so after like a few rounds of bringing ping pong balls up with tinfoil, we decide that that's not enough. So we had Domino's that night. So we take all the Domino's. This is such a horrible story. So we take Domino's boxes and we're going up across the street to Bradford Heights Elementary School's parking lot. And we pass our neighbors and they're playing basketball. We're like, "Yo, we're gonna go light shit on fire." And they're like, "Oh, sweet." So they all come. And so we go up and then we just light a bunch of Domino's boxes on fire. And we're like, "This is awesome."
That's hilarious.
And, so my one friend Cole, like, unsolicitedly took an Axe bottle, like a spray bottle.
That's savage.
No.
And he throws it in the fire. Boxes.
Bro.
And then Nate's like, "Yo, you should probably take that out." And he's like trying to like take it out, but like it could like literally blow his hand off.
Yeah.
So we were like, "What do we do?" Then all of a sudden,
Run.
it's boom! Like,
Oh
it
my
was,
God.
It was the most startling moment of my life. Fire was in my face, just totally engulfed my body.
Nah.
Everyone else is running away. It like blew in my direction, and, like away from everyone else. So luckily, no one else was like hurt. But
Nicholas.
everyone's like running down this like the hill up Bradford Heights, the grassy hill. They're
Yeah.
sprinting down, just tumbling down it, just scared for their lives. And meanwhile, like you know the like the ringing noise you hear, and you get like a flashback.
Oh
Yeah.
That's exactly what happened.
Oh
and,
my God.
I like lost my sight for a little bit, and I was just
Oh
like
my
screaming
God.
because I'm like, "Oh my God, am I about to die?" Like I had no idea what was going on. And so I tumble in the grass, yelling like, "I can't see, I can't see," and everyone else is running back to my house. And
Oh my.
so like I come back to my house and I like get my vision back and like I'm able I'm processing. So I'm getting back to my house and I'm super scared. I'm like, "What just happened?" Like there's still a fire up there. Like it expanded and all of a sudden you hear sirens.
No.
Oh
No.
my God.
Jeez.
So it was the fire department was called because they heard me scream, "I can't see, I can't see," because they thought it was like some sort of like, well, really anything that could blow up and make someone yell, "I can't see." So there's a fire department up there, and yeah, they had to put out a fire in the parking lot. And my eyebrow burnt off. I don't know if you guys remember 8th grade. I had half an eyebrow. For
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
For the winter.
Wow.
And I
Oh
had
my
this
God.
huge burn mark, looked like Mike Tyson's tattoo.
Oh
Because
my God.
what happened was when it blew up in my face, I blinked, so like my skin folded by my eye, and like that like burnt the outer part. But if I didn't blink, I guess it would have melted my eye, or it would have done something like really damageable to my eye. But I blinked, and it like saved my vision. It was crazy, and everything's like healed, and I have no scar. But it's still the funniest story I have to tell.
Funny.
That's insane.
devastating.
Yeah.
That's, I love how every like they just kept hitting these turning points. Like I thought he was just gonna spray, and like no, he threw it. Like holy crap!
Oh
dude.
my god.
Let's-
Levinson, please contact 7500 immediately.
Oh.
Levinson, please call
We're trying to hear
7500
Nicholas' story here.
immediately.
Oh yeah, call 755.
And then, yeah, they almost made me take, like, an arson-reek school because they thought I was some pyromaniac.
Oh
my
my
God.
They're like, yeah, we might have to recommend this, like, school for arson-reek and teaching the problems of fire. I'm like, yeah, thanks. Like, cool, I won't play with fire again. Like,
So wait, did any of your friends get like in trouble?
well, I mean, their parents were mad at them, but, like, nothing really except that.
So
like,
just because you were the one that got hurt, you were the one that got like recommended for the school, and you had to talk to the fire
well,
company. and all
we were
that?
at my house.
Oh,
was the
true,
thing. So
true,
their
true.
parents picked them up, and the fire department came and talked, and I was the only one there. So it was kind of like we lucked out, so they didn't get in trouble.
Yeah.
And it wasn't that much. They were just like, I didn't end up having to take like any arson or anything. So
Wow.
my parents were just
Yeah.
really mad. They grounded me.
Ooh.
Dang,
Wow.
Mr. West.
Let me put it this way. Easily the best story yet.
Oh, I was just thinking that easily. That's some
Easily.
chaos
That's-
on Schoolhouse
That's like a
Circle.
classic childhood, like,
Trauma.
yeah.
That's a classic way to start an episode of Damn Cuh, if I say
What?
so myself.
Yeah.
Nick, let me
exactly.
riddle you this. How terrifying was it when the thing blows up, your skin's burning, you can't see, you can't hear? How'd that feel?
Dude, I
describe
honestly
that?
thought like it was gonna be some critical point in my life where I was gonna be like disabled of some sort because I'm like, whoa, I literally lost like 2 of my senses. I'm rolling in the ground. I'm like, what's gonna happen? And I knew just from how loud and like explosive it was that something bad was gonna happen. I'm like, this is
Yeah.
not like this is bad. So yeah, that kind of I lucked out big time with
I'm very glad.
So what's-
Thank
What kind of
God.
axe bot are you talking? Are you talking like the little tiny ones? Or are you talking like the big like?
it was the ones that are about like 3.5, 4 inches.
Oh
like,
shoot.
yeah, not like the travel ones.
Ooh.
So what happened? It just like implodes
Yeah.
under pressure?
Axe spray is so flammable. It's like
Well,
hairspray.
Yeah, well, it's aerosol cans is really
Yeah.
the problem with it. It's like, I forget exactly why, but when it's under a lot of heat, just
Well, the
totally
pressure,
burns.
yeah, it just builds
Yeah.
up inside and just
Yeah.
busts out the side.
And then the way they looked back at the camera on Bradford Heights security cameras.
No.
They said it was a 20-foot explosion.
No.
Wow.
Yes.
No.
Wow.
Wait, they checked.
Yeah, because they're like, we have to like, they're either curious or like had to like cite something, but
Yeah.
like, yeah, 20 feet.
Wait. Isn't that like illegal? Like
What?
hardcore? You're lighting a fire on property.
Let's keep that bomb.
Played that scene anyone's
It's got nothing to do with legality, but
I'm turning 18 this summer, so I guess it won't matter.
Yeah,
That's
true,
July
true.
11th. But yeah.
oh, happy
Until
early
then,
birthday.
I think
Early
it's
birthday.
fine.
Happy almost half birthday.
Happy birthday.
Thanks.
Happy
that's-
early
that's how you put
birthday. But so you're telling me this was a 20-foot explosion and you're standing close by it, just because you're still kind of trying to get the bottle or figuring out what to do, and it
Yeah.
just goes kablam.
I was about like 4 or 5 feet away from it. Like,
Wow.
just staring into
Jeez.
it.
That's ridiculous.
That's so scary. I'm sorry, sir.
No, it's
We're
funny.
glad you're okay and here today.
Thank you.
Yes,
I appreciate
yes.
it. Me too.
I'll say that.
Yeah. Wow.
That's insane.
That's a
That's a-
Tommy story.
That's
if
a
I've
hell
ever
of
heard
a
one.
story. Anyways, speaking of fires, a fire was created amongst a survey at STEM.
Oh.
Tommy, why don't you pull up this survey? It was created by our favorite Chick-fil-A
Oh, yes.
Chick-fil-A employee Justin Sporn.
Trying to get some Mackie
Mackie
D.
Oh, watch it.
Mackie D.
Shout out for on the cast.
Oh, we've
Oh,
given him
yeah.
a shout out already.
And Greg
Great
B.
service. Yeah.
Ooh, I'm not shouting out Greg.
Wait, Greg, if you're listening, I had a dream that I was flying a drone. I had to climb a 50-foot pole, and you were standing there cheering me on.
What?
Yeah,
Oh,
your dream.
did he have Chick?
Of course you were dreaming. That's what you always do.
Alright, should I read the...
What movie were you watching?
Oh.
No.
All right.
Alright.
Let's hear it, Nicholas.
So-
So the survey, and apparently this originated at STEM. I'm not sure,
Sleep for
but
that.
here's what it is. Evaluate the statement. The circumstances of one's birth are irrelevant. It is what you do with the gift of life that determines who you are. Do you agree with this claim? And so basically it's saying is that where you're born is irrelevant with your later life. Like, you have just the amount of chance as someone else to do anything. And 58.5% said that was true, and only 41.5 said that was untrue. So yeah, I'm definitely with the untrue side, and I'm astonished that 58.5% people.
I can definitely see, like, just based off of reading it, and I guess anyone could say, like, obviously if I was born in, like, Ethiopia or something, like, poor, and you don't really have any, like, connections outside of there, you obviously don't have a lot of food. I feel like that's gonna take more of a toll on your life than, like, someone like one of us that is, like, going to school, has food every day at their house, and has that education. I feel like they could potentially have more of a chance of making their way into life, I guess, better than someone in Ethiopia. I guess people could see that, but then if you think about it, it's like, well, the person in Ethiopia could definitely, like, try and make themselves better, I guess. I don't know.
I think a large part of it, and this was, like, I had a multitude of prior arguments on this, but a lot of the thing was the difference between possibility and chances. Like, yes, anything's possible. You can, and it's possible. But what we're looking at and what's the actual issue is the chances of it. And the difference in the chances between some communities and other communities in the United States is the issue. And I think that certain communities are definitely deprived of the resources that others have to get them to succeed later in life.
For sure.
Yeah.
Like, let me put it this way. Say you're like Bill Gates' child or something, versus being born in an alleyway somewhere because you couldn't afford a doctor to deliver the child. I'm pretty positive that Bill Gates' child has a way higher chance of doing well for himself than this kid that's born in an alleyway. Like, man's pretty much a billionaire at birth.
Right, 100%.
Yeah, I'm agreeing with what you're saying about the possibility and the chance difference. Because, like, of course, the guy born in the alley,
he could.
Of course, he can. I think it really also depends on how you define. What's the word they use? Like, just they say success or no? What do they say?
Well, like, what you do with the gift of life.
Oh yes, okay. It doesn't matter. Yeah. I would say, like, it definitely the difference between possibility and, like, the chances. Like, yeah, obviously, the guy in the alley can do it, but it's gonna be, I don't know. It's gonna be, I guess, way more difficult because, like, that Bill Gates' son, he probably doesn't have to do anything, like, once he's born,
For himself.
Like, for himself. Like, but whereas the guy in the alley, like, he's gonna have to work and to get up to that kind of position that he would be in. But I think it definitely does have a factor in, like, how, like, by the means, like, how you're gonna be able to get there. What are the chances it can happen? But no matter what, I think no matter what, it can happen. There's no limit. It's like no matter where you're born, no matter what happens, you can.
Yeah, you can't let that
no
be
matter
an
what.
excuse.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I mean, I gotta agree with Nick West here. Like, think about how many people out there in the world are as smart or smarter than any one of us five, but they can't succeed because they're stuck in a vicious cycle of poverty and having to care for their family and, you know, work and do stuff that they wouldn't be able to, like us, who, you know, we're in a nice area. We can go in whatever path we please to, you know, with some exception.
Yeah.
But, you know, people in poverty, like, have it pretty tough. And, yeah, some people break the cycle. Like, I know a guy, none of his family had ever gone to college, and this guy was a genius. He knew, like, Japanese, Chinese, Spanish, Italian, English, and he became, like, a doctor and stuff. So, like, granted, stuff like that does happen, but like you guys were saying, the chances, like, much lower and much tougher.
Yeah. So, like, I read a book on Malcolm Gladwell. It's called Blank, but one of the quotes in it that, like, stuck with me. That's, like, really like, helps with this situation is poverty is not deprivation. Poverty is isolation. So what it basically means is that the people that live in the, like, impoverished communities, it's not that they don't have, like, money, and that's the problem. It's that they're so in such an isolated environment, away from the connections that they need to get where other people are, is that there's no social connections to get them out, because it's all just one, like, community where they're stuck within each other, and it's hard to get out.
Exactly.
And there just follows, like, vicious cycles of, like, crime and all of that. And the whole like, kid born in an alley versus Bill Gates' son, like to put that in like another lens of something that's kind of current today is just basically like communities like North Philadelphia, Detroit, Chicago versus like here or like Malvern or like other communities like that. Like a lot of kids that go to Penn State, like even sides of downtown are really rich. And to say that like a kid in North Philadelphia has the same chance as a kid that goes to Malvern as to getting into an Ivy League school, like I think that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Of
course.
And I'm gonna talk about. I think the main problem with the survey, the reason why so many people are voting yes, is syntax and wording. Like,
Of course.
like when people read that question, the last thing they see is the question about like the good of life is like what you choose to do with it or whatever.
Yeah.
So I think immediate natural response to vote yes, what you do with life is like how you make it a gift or whatever. I don't remember the exact
What
phrasing.
do you do with the gift of life?
Yeah, so when people see that, they're going to be like, oh, yeah, I vote yes. But then they forget about the whole first part where it says, like, the circumstances of birth are completely irrelevant, which that's not true. It's relevant.
Yeah. Like, for instance, this kind of alludes to this. You know, I'm sure at some point you guys have all thought, like, wow, I'm so thankful to be born in this community into, like, a normal-ish family and, like, just have, like, go to school and stuff. So, in that sense, like, I guess it applies to this. Like, yeah, the circumstances of our birth were different.
Yeah.
100%. And I think if we are privileged to have a good birth, then we should also, like, try our hardest to make the most of it.
Yeah.
Like, we shouldn't, like, complain about the smallest things and think of stupid excuses. Like, everyone should try the most to make the most of their own life, but you shouldn't like say that everyone has an equal chance of achieving a good life.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's like funny you brought that up. This is the same author, different book, but this is his concept he came up with called the inverted U curve, and like it's basically a parabola, like a U shape, but turned over.
Pass, please come on the podcast.
Right. So it's like a upside down U, and it's hard to like verbally express like what it explains, but basically it says you can have too much of something that people don't have enough of, and it'll come out with the same effect. So basically what it's saying is a kid that goes to Malvern might have the same outcome in life as a kid that goes to North Philadelphia because he had too much money, whereas the kid in North Philadelphia had not enough money.
That makes sense.
Yeah. I actually have an example I was thinking about sharing of basically what you just described. So, y'all know I love NBA basketball. So, take a guy like LeBron James. He was born in Akron, Ohio, which is like Etch-a-Sketch. And, like, he said, like, it's a miracle I got out of there because he didn't have a dad, didn't have a lot of food, not a lot of money, really impoverished. I don't know if I said that right. But anyway, and he said basically it's extremely rare if people ever make it out of that town. And then conversely, a guy like Kobe Bryant, he grew up on the main line, went to Lower Merion High School, which is like much more wealthy than a place like Akron, Ohio, but they both end up at the same exact level. So like, if you do have like a true gift, you know, you can make it work, but like I said, it's really tough. Like LeBron James, it's a miracle that he is what he is today.
Yeah,
And
whereas with
on
Kobe,
the on the point that Nick made about like the parabola, it can also go the reverse way. Like, say someone with so much money decides just like blow it off and just like go into drugs, use that money for drugs and all that, then they're gonna end up just as bad as someone with a little less money that still chooses to use the little money they get on drugs. They're both gonna end up in that same pretty bad place.
Yeah, of course. And like, how many times have you like heard the stereotype of like that one kid whose dad just paid for everything in his life? He goes to Malvern, he gets him into an Ivy League school, but he just like blows it, and like he just like uses money on like partying and like a frat guy does like coke, all this, and just totally falls off. Like that happens a lot, and I think that's just like an example of how having too much money could have the same adverse effect as having not enough.
Yep.
And then there's the stat. It was crazy. In the middle, the vertex of the parabola, where you would have the highest outcome in life, whereas like the nature versus nurture effect, the perfect balance for annual income is $70,000.
Wow.
Not a lot.
Wow.
That would give you the best chance at like having enough like money to do what you want, but also teaching those effects of like self-determination and like really just having the integrity. Like $70,000 was the outcome.
Interesting. Wow.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
crazy.
And how we were talking about this cycle of poverty and then how it's really hard to get out of, and it's just like takes families over, and it's terrible. I feel like it's kind of the same way with like upper class people, like really upper class people. Like kind of like what Nick was saying, these people, their parents do a lot for them. They get into college easily because their parents might have connections with someone in the admissions office at Penn or whatever. And then, I mean, sorry, my dad's a professor.
No, I'm just kidding.
Go ahead. No, I'm kidding.
No.
Nah, I'm talking like,
I know. I just thought it was funny how it's like similar situation. Never mind. Keep going, Cam. Keep going.
Would you
I'm
like
not-
to
I'm not
finish,
gonna push you.
Mike?
Yeah, please continue.
consider me continued. Anyway, these people just get. Mike threw me off. Now I
Way to
can't-
go, way to
I'm
go.
talking about people that have more. They have like connections in college. It's easy for them to like, succeed with. Money.
Basically, these really rich people are also in cycles where they don't have to try super hard, and they're given like maybe like government jobs or like upper level jobs, and then they can do the same things for their families and whatnot.
Yeah. And I think that vicious cycle is a problem. And I think like the cycle of the poverty regions versus the cycle of like the regions that have a lot of money, they're really different. But if they technically should have the same effect because they're each at the same part of the U curve, they really don't have the same cycle. Because the cycle in the really rich communities is they keep having those jobs and they keep having those high income. And even if you do fall off, like your dad's still probably going to pay for your lawyer, still going to pay for
Exactly.
this. But if you're following that cycle into poverty, then you really have no one to back you up, and you just like you're done the second. Like it's hard. You really only get a few mistakes, but you can have so many mistakes in the like really rich part.
Yeah, and that really just adds again to the chance because like you're saying you have something to fall back on if you grew up in that high like wealthy life because you can fall back on your dad, and there's less chance you'll be able to do that if you're in poverty. You don't have someone to support you.
Yeah, definitely.
Very cool.
Yeah.
So
good
now,
stuff.
my question is, do we want to talk about something in the video game community if you get what I'm vibing, or do you want to move to the movie?
I actually, before we move on,
All right.
I would like to hear what Tristan Pete has to say. If we could get a live call in.
I will call him. He is if he's driving.
All right.
it's-
If he's driving,
As-
he better pick up.
While
If he's
we
not
call
driving-
Tristan.
should I put it
Oh,
on?
never
Yeah,
mind.
yeah,
Let's
Yeah,
see.
it's still right there.
He better answer.
Come on, Pete.
Pete.
Petey Weedy.
Come on.
You wanna go, Tristan?
Abe might be able to, but that's.
Oh,
Oh, so honest.
Oh, I thought I was gonna.
But he's got to be honest. What's your honest opinion on
Your
this?
call is
Oh, Tristan.
Shall we ring up Peroya?
All right, we'll decide. Let's decide on while he's ringing up Peroya. Let's decide.
Yeah.
Do we want to continue and talk about some game stuff if you get what I'm vibing,
Yeah.
or do we want to go on to the movie?
I'll be down for some game discussion.
I think the game
We got
discussion.
some good perspectives on this
Yeah.
game stuff too.
Yeah, we do actually.
Being that some people might be inexperienced.
Honest Abe.
Honest.
Honest.
Quit being so honest.
Oh,
Come on.
I was expecting
Say
at least decline if you can.
Yeah.
Next ring. Alright, there we go. You missed your chance, man.
Oh, come on, Abe.
You just
Whoa.
got moved to the back of the guest list, which is about 8 to 10 weeks. So.
God damn.
You want to know what Abe's probably doing? He's probably playing some Fortnite.
Exactly.
Honest.
I'd put money on that.
I hear that, and yeah, let's talk about Fortnite because
It's taking over
that shit
the world.
blew up.
It did.
It's running a monopoly on the gaming industry right now.
It is insane. Like a free-to-play game just absolutely blew up. But for a lot, it's not free to play anymore because they buy their battle passes and stuff. But that's crazy, and it's like a social media phenomenon with people doing the dances and stuff.
Yeah.
David,
Don't say it.
if you're listening, please
Send us a video.
David Brink.
please send us a video of you hitting the shoot dance.
Please.
We would. I'll pay money.
I'll pay you.
Yeah.
I'll pay money, David.
We'll all
Buy
pay
you
you.
a shirt.
I love. Alright. I don't know much about Fortnite, the game. I've never played it. I don't have Xbox or PS3 or whatever you played on. But
Retweet.
those Fortnite dances are classic. I mean, Brendan does. When Brendan sees me hitting the Fortnite dances, he loses it.
Dude, Cam does those dances so well. Like they're just so ridiculous, and like you can do them at any time because they're hilarious and
Thank you.
they'll make anyone laugh. But the thing is, I'm pretty sure you have to buy those stupid dances on the game.
Yeah.
Yeah, you gotta
Like,
buy a lot of them.
Okay, don't get me.
Yo.
Oh,
honest
Time
thing.
out. Time out.
Time out.
Should we pick up?
Oh,
I'm thinking we
Oh,
pick
we're
up.
picking
Let's
up.
pick up.
Fortnite or
Fortnite.
you're on the PCast.
Welcome, Honest.
Honest.
Yo, I'm gonna be honest. I love the podcast.
Hey!
So honest. Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Hey,
Let's
that's all
actually
I got.
ask him. Wait, hey, we got a question.
All right.
So, have you seen Justin Sporn's survey?
Oh, of course.
What did you
Is that what you
respond
guys-
to it?
I believe the answer is no, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. It doesn't matter where you're born. Not everyone has an equal chance, and it's got to change. If I'm gonna be honest.
Okay.
I just want to say, I was with Honest when he and Jude were debating this, and well, it got heated as debates
did.
do. But I love them both, and Honest just keeps it honest. So
Yeah, you always got to side with Honest.
Right.
And also, Honest, another question. What are your thoughts on Fortnite?
Fortnite. Oh.
Is that what
it's
you're
a
doing
fun
right now?
game. I'm not. I'm playing Black Ops 4 right now, actually.
Oh.
But
basically.
Fortnite is a fun time. You know, you gotta play with 4 friends, three other of them, and
What if you don't have 4 friends?
well, that sucks for you. I'm gonna be honest.
Classic Honest.
Yeah, so you gotta play with friends, have a great time. So that's why I like Fortnite.
What about
very
having
good.
a good time with your friends the old-fashioned way?
You could, but not. I mean, they don't live with me, you know.
Abe,
yeah.
riddle me this. Riddle me this.
All right.
When you're playing Fortnite, how many of those ridiculous dances have you bought for like $10 a piece?
See, I'm actually not one of those wieners who who buy V-Bucks. No
He's
offense,
honest.
Nick.
Wait, Honest,
So-
let me be honest with you.
Wait, what are they called?
Yeah,
V-Bucks?
V-card.
Oh, yo, my mom's calling me. Hold up.
Are you serious?
Add the call. Add her. No.
House
All
party.
right. Well,
While
so-
we're on hold,
All right, not to be that guy, but can someone explain to me what Fortnite is exactly? Because it's not
So-
really clear.
all right.
Honest.
All right. So, Fortnite, you've seen the Hunger Games, right?
Yeah.
So basically, what Fortnite is you get dropped into a map, all right, and you have no resources or supplies. So what you do is you find chests or loot throughout the map, grab your guns from that loot, and some chests give you some rare guns and all that. And then you can axe trees down and stuff to get resources to build, and you just fight other people on the map. Whoever survives.
riddle me this. Do you think Fortnite has taken over the popularity of Minecraft?
I actually have some
Can you compare those two? Like, that's my question.
Yeah.
I'm not a Minecraft kind of guy, but
Yeah.
Oh, that's
But-
good to hear.
that-
Thank you.
I was a Minecraft type of guy.
Yeah.
Of
Like,
course.
here's the thing about me. I prefer Minecraft, not even gonna lie. I'd play Fortnite right now, but like I prefer Minecraft solely because the options are so much more like limitless. Like Fortnite, you have one mode, and then occasionally on a weekend they'll drop in another one, and I don't even know if Save the World's a thing. I haven't been on in a brick. But
like,
In
no one does.
Brink.
I don't even
like-
think Nick West has to say that.
oh,
This, John, not to cut you off, Moo. If I did.
trust me, I want to hear it too.
So, all right, there's a lot to say. I like to start off with I'm an avid Fortnite player myself. I play with Honest Abe a lot, and I like the game. It's fun, but it has a lot of it has a monopoly on the people who use its lives in the gaming industry. Like the like the stock market like for games is totally run by Fortnite. Like right now I'm reading this off of an article I read, but so Activision, like they created Call of Duty.
Mm-hmm.
Since Fortnite came out, their stock plunged 45%.
That's big.
Insane.
That's big.
Then EA with Madden and all that, 30% down.
Wow.
And this is like Take-Two Interactive. I don't know if you know, like
Yeah,
the
yeah.
Red Dead.
Yeah.
Like Red Dead 2 was successful, just came out and went down 25%.
Wow.
So like
Jeez.
even if these other games or other gaming companies are doing really really good, like there's no match.
Yeah, you can't stop the beast.
That
And
sucks.
Here's the thing, like, I 100% don't believe Fortnite's the best game. Like, there's a lot of great games, but there's something so genius about that business model, about making it free to everyone, so literally, and cross-platform. If you don't know what that means, like, if you have a PlayStation 4 and your friend has an Xbox, you guys can play online together with
I
Fortnite.
didn't
Really?
know
That's
that.
nice.
That's
That's
Yeah,
Wait,
really big.
They
What?
just
That's
added
what
that.
got me back into it. Really.
Yeah, exactly.
So wait, you're telling me if you play on PC, you can play with anyone?
Yep.
Yep.
It's crazy, like,
That's
because
crazy.
it's one of those games where every single one of your friends have it, so you can always resort to it.
It's free.
Wait,
It's free.
So you're telling
Yeah.
me?
What?
Let me see if I get this straight. It's free.
It's
And you
free.
can play it on any electronic console, more or less.
Mobile,
You can play it on your phone.
PC.
Wait. So the
Yo.
phones match up with the consoles?
You can play with phone players.
Yeah.
How,
See,
so wait,
anyone
how
else.
is that? How is that like fair? Like, do you think?
Oh,
It's
it's
fair.
some
Ah.
yeah, some phone players are like insane, but that's a rarity. Most phone players are pretty trash.
Kevin Pollock is amazing. He plays on his phone. We call
Yeah.
him, like they're called mobs, like mobiles.
Such a
He quit. He retired from Fortnite.
Wow.
It was
Oh.
occupying too much of his life, I guess. But
I may have
He-
to cop. To
he
be
was insane. He was better than a lot of console players.
Yeah.
I remember everyone was busting up so much hype about this game coming out on your phone. I was like, I'll give it a try. So someone sends me this code to get the game because you need a special code when it first came out. I don't know if you need it anymore. But I started playing it. I did not know how to do it. I kept getting killed. So I'm just like, screw this. And now we're here.
honest. So you're telling me it's $0?
$0.
Well, US
Yeah.
stuff?
How do they make
Here's
money?
the thing. This is the beta version. This is.
Oh yeah, that's right.
What?
It's been in
This is
beta.
crazy.
It's been in
What?
beta for like the past like year and a half, 2 years.
Yeah.
I don't even know.
Yeah, 2 years. It's been a beta. They haven't really released the actual version.
What?
Yet.
That's
So
crazy.
if the beta is running a monopoly on the market, it's the best game out. Everyone knows it. Like it's plaguing like elementary school kids' lives.
Yeah,
like
literally playing.
yeah, like they literally just own everything. And this is just like the test version.
That's
Jeez.
ridiculous.
It's
That's
insane.
You're saying like, what if they come up with a full and they're like, oh, let's charge them like $10.
If they
for
charge
it.
that, then
or like,
it's insane. Then
That'd
they're
be-
gonna
People
be.
will buy
They're
it. People
just.
buy it.
I don't even know how to express how much money they're gonna be making.
Jeez,
And-
Louise.
well,
I think
so they're making money through these like in-app purchases, I guess.
Solely
Yeah.
off that.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
much money.
Wow.
Like,
Yeah.
Oh my
so
God.
I know some like kids that just like they're like, oh yeah, I've easily spent $100 on V-Bucks, and I'm like, Jesus
insane.
Christ.
Dude, you think $100? How many kids are playing this damn game?
No,
Like
it's-
everyone.
They're making like some $1 billion like a month.
Yeah,
off
it's
that.
insane.
I remember sitting in the back of our pre-calculus class last year with Moo and Nick, and they were talking about how they like hooked up for Fortnite over the weekend. And I was like, "Yo, this sounds kind of bitchin'." And then, but then they're like, "Yeah, I think it may be starting to die off or something." This is like March, and then all of a sudden, I guess there was like a huge surge in like younger kids, like elementary school kids, and now it's just like,
Yeah,
blown
they
back
know
up.
they know their market. And
Yeah.
oh,
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Sorry to cut you off, Moo, but
Oh, no problem.
I definitely think it might be taking a negative toll on these younger kids too, because I mean, we just went through this epidemic with like school shootings and stuff like that, and now you're putting this game out there for more guns, and the younger the kids are, I think it's just gonna come out to be some kind of negative problem with the game, and I definitely think is it easy for these kids to play? Like, do they understand it
Yeah.
That's
easily?
that's
Like-
also part of the thing. The learning curve is not that steep.
Yeah.
which is probably why it's so accessible in that regard.
Yeah, I think honestly, elementary school kids are better than like high school kids.
Wow.
Oh,
And
yeah.
it's like the thing with like what you said, Brendan, with like how it like programs their mind to think violently. Like you hear about kids the kids in our school, like when they get off, like they play for so long, they get off, and then they almost confuse like reality with like Fortnite.
So
'Cause
sad.
you
What?
Yeah, no, I've heard
What?
All right, some kid play for
Jesus.
in Fortnite. There's like a chest, right, and there's chests all over the place. You have to open them to get like the loot or like your guns or whatever to play, and then you hear them. Like if you hear one upstairs, you have to go upstairs to get it.
The chest.
And
yeah.
then there's like it's like some like shiny like noise on how to make
heck?
it. But like someone said when they got off, they heard one in their house.
Oh my god. It becomes
scary.
almost psychedelic.
Yeah,
It's-
and
yeah.
I
That's
think
scary.
another part of the problem, like, I don't understand how rating companies don't understand this, but like, so many companies are like, oh, we can rate that game teen or E10 plus because there's no blood, but I personally believe that's far worse than there being blood because kids are watching this game. Like, I'm a hardcore believer in that. You can show kids rated R movies depending on if his mind is developed enough.
Yeah.
You know, like it's all based on whoever it is. But the problem with this game is that it makes violence have no consequence
Yeah.
because
Exactly.
there's no blood whatsoever. So like kids get desensitized to this violence so fast because they're like,
Yeah.
oh well, if they get shot, there's no like horrifying imagery or anything. It's just
Yeah.
like he
That's
just
so scary.
They
Yeah.
changed.
That's so scary.
They used like next to your kill number, there used to be like a skull icon next to it, but now they have a little target, and they stopped calling them kills; they call them eliminations now.
No way.
So, like that's a really good point because now they're like, oh yeah, it has no effect because they just get eliminated, and whether you know it or not, it's basically uncontrollable that it programs in your mind unconsciously like to accept violence more, and
Wow.
it does have outcomes.
yeah, I think
It
that's
does.
way worse. Like I watched so many rated R movies as a kid, but the good thing about rated R movies was that it showed me how horrifying drugs and violence were. Like when I
Exactly.
watched Terminator 2, I was scared to touch a knife or whatever for like a week after seeing Arnold cut his like whole arm off. I'm like, oh my god. But if I'm playing Fortnite and just see people disappear into the air, it's like
They're gonna
I'm
think
not
it's
scared
okay.
to play with the Nerf guns or anything after that.
Yeah.
And they have a school bus in the damn game.
Yeah,
Yeah.
good point.
What the hell?
Yeah.
Jeez. Wait, so riddle me this. Are there like different levels, or is it just like one
It's-
repeated continuous game more or less?
It's that same game mode. You just drop into the map and whoever's the last one to survive wins.
And
Yeah.
there's
And they
this like,
just repeat it all the time.
quote me on the spot. There's this like storm that closes in on you, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
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 All right, this is something that people are so weird with this game. Like my one friend was telling me how basically what Moo was saying, you have to be the last survivor. So some people just hang out in like the corner of the map or whatever and just
Camping or whatever.
hang out until like the very end. I'm like, how is that a game or fun per se?
Well, that's why they make that storm. It's like a radius, so
Yeah.
it just closes in on you, and you can't camp unless you camp in the middle, which is
Really?
where like the good
Yeah.
players hang out. So it's like,
Wow.
The thing is, like, campers, for some time, they might have fun, but then even they start, there's not as many campers because after you camp a few times, you realize how boring it is, and you also realize, like, man, I'm not going to win because I'll never have, like, supplies or anything. Like, what your loot is quite detrimental to your finish game in chess terms or whatever, or end game. And
Yeah.
whereas in Call of Duty or something, you can camp in a corner and you can just spray down people. You can get so many kills. So people are like, oh, I'm getting so many kills, I might as well camp. But in this game, it's like, you're not going to win if you camp.
Yeah, exactly.
I want to see the like academic like records of all these children that are playing like this game, because I know my little cousin, he's on that game for hours upon hours. I'll go to like school or band practice, say like all day on a Saturday from like 9 to 6, something like that. And he's same spot. I'm like, dude,
It's crazy.
It's all-
interact with the world.
Yeah,
Like,
that's where I was leading. It's not just like the violence of the game and all that. It's also like the social interaction. Like, yeah, you're talking with people. That's some interaction, but you're not like communicating. As Mr. Turner brought up today, some businesses are teaching people how to shake another person's hand while looking them in the eyes because people look at their phones so much, which
Dang.
sort of blew my mind.
What?
But yeah, no, kids aren't like playing outside or anything. They're not getting that vitamin D, cuh.
Yeah. There's this I think he's a 5th grader that I know, and Nick actually knows Nick knows him as well. I'm not gonna name drop, but use your imagination. But basically, I've heard this little rascal comes home from school, goes down into the basement, fires up the Fortnite, and plays it till like basically midnight or whenever he goes to bed. Wakes up, goes to school, comes back, does the whole thing
repeat.
again.
How old is he? Or what
He's
grade?
in
Fifth grade.
He's
Sixth,
right now,
sixth.
but like when fifth
So
grade.
like
That's crazy.
10, 11, 12.
Dude, I didn't stay up past 12 till I was like in
I know.
6th,
Till
7th
like
grade.
now.
That was
Like,
Or now, yeah, like, what
It's
the heck?
also surprising how such a simple free-to-play game is what like created this boom in esports. Like,
Oh yeah.
that's become huge now. There's a huge amount of viewers that play competitive online gaming now because
Oh.
of
It's
Fortnite.
considered basically like
Yeah,
sport,
like
isn't it? Yeah,
some of
it's
the
like-
some of the
For
good
your
Fortnite
thumbs.
players are dead ass celebrities.
Oh my!
They make
everyone
so
knows who
much
Ninja
money.
is.
Hey,
What?
Oh yeah, Ninja. Isn't that
Whether
not
you
like
played or
one
not, you know or you heard of.
of the- I've
Ninja.
heard of him too. Yeah.
Like the amount of money he's in, like advertisements and everything.
He's on the cover of ESPN.
Exactly.
What the?
for a game that's still
crazy.
in beta.
Fortnite, like birth, like professional gaming. Really,
That's
Oh my God.
crazy.
Professional
How
game.
old is Fortnite?
it's 2 years.
2? That's what I
Yeah.
figured.
And I feel like this is just a start. Like, so many people are gonna be inspired, and so many, like, I guess, video game developers. Like, I feel like Call of Duty definitely sparked some inspiration in Fortnite, maybe.
Yeah.
But like, Fortnite's gonna spark, like, and it's just gonna keep going from here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's insane. Yeah.
Yeah, I gotta say.
So-
Oh, sorry. No, no.
No,
I was
no,
gonna
go
say
ahead.
I've never played before, but it seems like the gameplay is a perfect setup to bring people back to and like just keep going because I've played similar stuff with like Minecraft, like and with
survival
survival
games.
games. It's like and that's something like
Classic.
when you just want to go and get that top spot and like if you go and see you get really close and you're in the last and the final whatever, in the end and then you lose, you're like oh my gosh, and your mind immediately thinks like is in like depression, like you need to go again, and it's like it's just like it's the perfect
Damn.
like way to
Getting
just
deep
get
on us,
sucked
Mike.
back in. So,
like
yeah,
binge
it's crazy.
playing.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
You
no,
just wanna
I-
win. You
that
want
game
win.
is-
You think you can do it next time. You do
That
it
game
next
is
time.
highly addictive. It's insane. Like I remember one time I'm like I'm gonna just get on for a game and I was playing with some of the homies, and all of a sudden I'm playing for like 4 hours and I'm
Yeah.
like Jesus Christ, what am I doing?
I feel like
Oh my
guilty after. Like I played for like weekends back. I played for like a couple hours, and I just felt like really guilty. I was like, did I just spend like a majority of my day doing this?
Yeah, it's so weird. It's like, and also like even for kids that play it, I wonder how it is because if they do this all the time, like every time I play Fortnite, like the few times I do, weeks, like once a month or whatever, like after I stop playing for a few hours, like I just can't do anything. I'm just like, oh, it doesn't feel so good, and I just like lie in my bed for some time, and I feel like kids aren't even gonna get out of their bed after playing Fortnite because they're just gonna lie in their bed just like
Obesity.
Just like-
Yeah, seriously.
gotta give the eyes a rest.
Right.
Yeah.
And we're gonna let's just say if the trend this is going on, like kids are like, I don't want to go for the basketball team, I want to go for the Fortnite team. That's the level we're getting for.
No, that's
That will be the
that's-
day that I jump off.
That's,
Oh,
that's one of
20
those-
years, bro.
Yeah, that's
It's-
one of those
it's
things where it
insane.
sounds insane now, but 20 years from now, our kid might say like, "Oh, I want to be a professional gamer when I grow up," and I'm like, "No, you're not."
Yeah.
Dude,
No.
that's so weird because we were at the freaking, it was the Downingtown or the Westchester Christmas parade. I have no idea, but I wanted to die because I saw a bunch of these like parents and their like 6-year-old kids walking around holding up a banner that said like, come join our gaming club.
What?
And it's like a camp you can go to game, and they're all dressed up in different like costumes from these video games that they're playing. I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, tell your kid to go join the soccer
Now,
team.
I
or
don't mind a
something.
camp, but I don't mind a camp or a club because that's like, I guess they're connecting with
Social
people and
interaction
stuff.
of some sort.
But when you start getting like it's actually gonna be true and it's gonna be the norm. But they already started having Fortnite coaches and stuff to train your kids.
Oh my
That's insane.
gosh.
Imagine if you like an adult's like imagine if you like maybe a wealthy adult like hired someone to come to the house and teach a kid how to play video games well. Imagine
Exactly.
that kind of thing. Like, there's no way that's not happening right now.
It's
the
gonna be a
kids, it's
reality. It seems crazy to us, but that's just a new wave. It's a
Yeah.
little sad, but I guess
Elon
we gotta
Musk
learn
needs
it.
to figure out how to get us away from this planet.
Also, to another
Right now.
point,
Do it again.
to another point, there's no way that spending like 9 or 10 hours in front of the Fortnite screen can be good for your mind or your eyes. Like, Moo, I know you're a guy who values the screen and spends a lot of time in front of it, but like,
Oh, trust
when
me.
you're playing Fortnite, something's different. Like your eyes, like you can tell they hurt after a while.
Mm-hmm.
It's like looking at your phone. Like if I'm on YouTube for too long, sorry, just like spit. If I'm on YouTube for
It's
like
all good.
too long, my eyes will start hurting me. That's why I always turn on the night shift because for some reason the screen just like hurts my eyes and I start to get like this headache. So I don't know what the TV would do. It just-
Also, most kids play. Sorry for cutting you
No,
off,
it's okay.
but most kids play on like a monitor, and those are way smaller, so they play way closer up to see where all the bad guys are.
Yeah.
So they're super close to a decent sized screen. So that's intense. That is intense. But they do say that video games like can help you in problem solving and stuff, but
That I feel like that's like an excuse, kind of.
Yeah.
but
Like one of those
if
things,
it's
oh, well,
if that's the only thing that you're doing, those problem solving skills aren't gonna get you
do
that.
something else. Like so, does every other sport help you with problem solving?
Exactly.
Like, a lot of things do. People say, "Oh, it's a hand workout." Is it?
No.
No way.
Come on.
It's like my thumbs are jacked. Yeah. Maybe what if guys start picking up chicks based on how jacked their thumbs are in the future?
You can't.
That happens.
We're talking
It's
about it
alright.
in a joke, but like
Yeah.
like you were saying, Nick, like
Yeah, I'm buff.
yeah.
Let me flex.
All right, speaking of guns, I just want to
Whoa.
say
Whoa! All right, buddy, spill the beans, and you better be careful because you might get expelled.
All right, all I'm saying is the lads, Nick wasn't there, but we hung out, we watched a great film, and we're going to talk about it. Nick also watched it, by the way.
Yes,
Oh,
sir.
let me introduce.
Let's just
this
say
puppy.
3 out of 4 of us have watched it.
There's 5 of us.
No, 3 out of 4 of the.
Oh yeah, that was all right.
Yeah.
What does that
Oh.
mean? Who says I didn't watch it?
I didn't say anything. You're putting words in my mouth, man.
So
I
let's
know where-
let us take it back into 2003. Now this is a time where foreign cinema, or at least South Korean cinema, was at an
Pause.
all-time peak.
That was North Korean.
Watch it.
How?
I'm just kidding. I'm just.
So you got your great filmmakers from South Korea like Park Chan-wook, who made Old Boy in 2003, which is just one of those classic films that has the best plot twist of all time. Then you got Bong Joon-ho, who is this movie that we're about to talk about is without a doubt one of my all-time favorite films. We're talking
Wow.
Memories of Murder. I want to hear what you guys thought because you already know it's one of my favorites.
I didn't really discover who exactly the murder was.
Let me
Spoilers included.
Oh,
I have
spoiler-
the idea, and I'm
spoiler
pretty sure
discussion.
I know, but like I don't explicitly know. I didn't.
You
wanna
don't
Google it
know.
or anything.
You don't know. Here's why. So I hope I preface this to you, but the movie's based off true killings.
Oh really?
True
Oh, I
Korean
would've watched
village.
it a lot cooler.
So now you can rewatch it.
Oh yeah.
But so it's based off of killings, true like first serial murders in South Korea, and what happened was, no one ever found the killer. They never discovered who the murderer was, but it happened in the 80s. So in 2003, Bong Joon-ho comes and makes this wonderful film, and the way he ends this movie gives me chills to this day because, so the character throughout the movie develops like, I can just look into people's eyes and know who the killer is.
Yeah.
So what he does at the end is he has the main character look into the audience as if he's searching through all the audiences to ever watch the movie for who the killer is. And maybe one day that killer did see the movie.
Yeah.
And also it makes the audience, like, in theaters, like, shoot, the person next to me could be the killer. Or in general, like, it's so scary to think that the girl says, he just looked like anyone. Like, just an ordinary looking person could be a killer that does such horrifying things.
Right.
And I love that last shot so much when he just looks at the camera and fades to black.
So is there any like recent evidence from any women being killed after the
I think I don't think so, but maybe. I didn't do too much research just 'cause I just love that movie so much. I'm like, every time I'm about to do research, it's too late when I watch it, and then I just think about how well made it was that I forget about the events that actually happened. But yeah, that's some crazy stuff that's based off true killings. The characters are fictional, but the killings are true.
Yeah, that's actually, I did not know they were true, and that's like horrible because the way that he did it and like how graphic it was when in the scenes, I was like made me super uncomfortable.
Yeah, like the peaches.
Peaches, let me think back.
Oh.
When he takes it out of the girl's
Oh,
dead clothes.
yeah.
Yeah. Just-
Sorry, my bad, my bad.
You speak.
No, my bad. All right, I'll speak. So this movie was excellent. I thought it was really well thought out. Some of the scenes, particularly this one in the woods, where they're spying on a guy they think might be the murderer, and then they hide, and then one of their comrades hides as well, and they're both kind of like watching, waiting for someone, sort of unaware that they're there, and it's just you just gotta peep it for yourself. But
he starts beating his gat, just like
Yeah.
that threw me off guard.
Yeah,
I was
me
like,
too.
because people just kept coming. I was like, oh wow, they're gonna think that the other person's the
no
murderer.
pun
like,
intended.
and it's
just-
just like you think oh they're about to find each other and like maybe think they're the other person. Then all of a sudden someone just comes out of nowhere and starts jerking off on some like whoa.
Starts
Yeah,
choking his
right?
one-eyed snake.
Unsolicited, yeah.
Dude, but the scene that follows that chase scene, and then when they're in the like
Oh, the
industry
mine?
place and the slow motion scene,
That was really good.
that hurt my head so bad. I was like, holy crap, this is ridiculous.
that might be some of my favorite slow motion of all time. I mean,
Yeah.
the music also.
They use
Oh, the music actually.
They use slow-mo in multiple sections of the film,
Yeah.
which I really liked. I was like, well, that's different. Like, you don't see people doing that much.
Yeah,
but
it's rare you see effective use of slow motion too. And
Yeah.
like, where it's not.
Yeah.
It's like it's not just there just cause. It's like wow, like that serves.
It's not there to like just look cool. It like
Yeah.
serves like great dramatic like emphasis on the scene, and oh man, that scene is so good.
Yeah, true.
I have a question for you guys. So, for months throughout this whole podcast series, I've been hearing Moose say, yeah, like, I'm more of a fan of subtle and suspenseful horror as opposed to, like, jump scares and whatnot, which is why I really liked the way the murders were done, just of how disturbing and horribly graphic it was, and, like, the thing with the peaches. But because of that, I thought some of the fight scenes were a bit overkill.
Oh no, the fight scenes are like. Are you talking about when he kicks people?
yeah.
Yeah,
like
no,
flying kick.
because so a big
like,
difference
what?
between like Korean cinema and American cinema is Korean cinema, like so many of the films I've watched, even Old Boy, always has this like slightly comedic tone to it. So that was almost like this gag where that guy would just
Yeah.
fly in and kick people, and I thought that was so funny.
Yeah.
Like he's like. He just points at the one that's wearing the underwear, and then he just like flies in from out of
Yeah.
frame and kicks him,
Yeah.
and
He jumps
I
on the
find that
staircase.
so
in the
hysterical.
interrogation rooms.
that was a pretty comedic scene. Like, the red underwear that looked like women's, like,
Yeah,
I just thought that was
they're looking for
hilarious.
the guy wearing woman's
Yeah.
Yeah.
underwear.
It's
it was funny.
that Korean cinema, like so. This movie and the film Zodiac. I don't know if any of you guys seen it. It's a David Fincher film. They both got like similar concepts where they're based off true serial murders and about like characters, like how it affects them. But I think that I like memory. Both movies are technically speaking like perfectly made, but there's something so original about Memories of Murder and how it's presented. Like, I can't even explain. It's just that comedic tone adds so much to the movie, but at the same time, there's so many great emotional moments in the movie. And the character writing, the character arcs are just brilliant.
Yeah. When you initially told us that that was the movie we were going to be watching, I was a bit like, wait,
Yeah, I was
what?
like-
Like a Korean film? There's so many good English movies, but not to put Korea on blast, no pun intended. But now that I see,
Excuse me.
Chill.
wait, what?
No.
Put Korea on blast.
I mean, he's
Rocket Man.
You said no pun.
Yeah.
Never mind.
Anyway, you made me lose my train of thought. But
The
all in all,
second time.
the movie was great. The recommendation was heat, and I'm looking forward to hearing what your recommendation for next week is.
Oh, but before we do that, about foreign cinema. Like, so, I don't know if I should put this boy on blast, but yesterday
Oh, wait,
at
so
Leone's,
We already have
one of the
before.
homies, oh, that's
Yeah,
right,
First episode.
one of the homies was like, subtitled? You think I'm gonna watch a movie with subtitles? And I'm like, bruh, what do you mean? It basically sounds like English like 10 minutes into the movie.
That's very true. That's very true.
Like, I don't even feel like I'm reading them by then because it just, you're so accustomed to it halfway through that you're just like,
Yeah, you can't look at a word and not read it. So like
Yeah.
subtitles.
exactly. And also, I feel that foreign cinema is a lot of times more immersive because you can't recognize the actors really. So then you just see them as the characters. And it also helps that the acting is wonderful in the movie. And that scene when they're on the train tracks and it's raining.
I
Oh
love
my
that
gosh.
scene, dude.
The scene
Oh my gosh.
where they're in the tunnel and
Yeah.
with the letters from America, like
That is so.
the
good.
research came back. Oh, he's not the murderer. Don't worry about it. He's like,
Oh, yeah.
but then he can't read it, or something like that. Like he can't read.
Yeah,
what
no,
it's-
the one guy could read
Yeah.
it, but the other
So
couldn't.
he like told
Yeah.
me, yeah.
He's like, it doesn't matter, and he
He's
just
so
throws it in the
upset.
tracks.
That's crazy.
And I'm thinking, holy crap! At any time, this train could come and just like plow these guys down.
And the document.
Yeah.
Part of the reason I also love that scene is just like the first time you see the movie, like for you guys, I don't know, when I watched it for the first time, I'm like, oh my gosh, this guy's definitely going to be the killer then if they're like, it's such a disappointment
Yeah.
when he's like, the results weren't a match. And then you're like, there's no way they must have screwed up the results or something. Like, and we'll never know. That guy might have just been let off the loose.
Yeah.
Like, maybe they did actually screw up the DNA or whatever, but they just let off that killer on the loose because he looked like a normal guy as well.
Like, what are the odds of him just actually going out, like, putting female underwear on the crime scene and then just like doing like jerking off on it? Like, that's not normal. That was
Yeah,
kind of weird.
there's so many different people. Like, that's not normal for that guy, but then he didn't have the soft hands like the one girl. And then the second guy, literally every single thing lined up. He didn't remember the songs that played on the radio.
Right.
He
Yeah.
had the soft
Yeah.
hands. Everything. He couldn't remember so much of the past when they were interrogating him. But then they get the results back and it wasn't him, and they're like, what?
Well, maybe it was someone. I thought the thing was maybe it was someone else's semen. If multiple guys are technically going out and jerking off on it, like maybe it was the other guy's semen.
Yeah.
But
I don't know.
It's
Interesting. It
Yeah.
makes you think after, so it's pretty cool.
so.
And also, I don't know if this is true. Wasn't this the first serial killer like
In Korea.
So yeah, so these guys are basically unaware of how to go about the case, and the same thing kept happening. But like they knew what was gonna happen and when it was gonna happen. They just didn't know like how are we gonna stop this guy.
And I love that dynamic how the one guy is like from Seoul, I think it was, and he's like, he got like the American detective methods, and the other guy usually just like blows cases off. He's just like, we found the guy, we got the recording, you're ruining the case. And that dynamic keeps it so fresh and interesting throughout the whole film.
yeah, definitely. What happened to Kwang Ho, the one with autism?
Oh,
He got
That
destroyed
was
by
so
a train.
sad.
He
That
got
was so
nothing to
sad.
say.
dude.
man.
Yeah, he kind of made me mad. I'm just like, oh, this guy's annoying.
That was the saddest scene. I was like, ooh.
R.I.P. Kwang Ho.
Yeah,
Alright.
dude, I love the Nike seat, and he's like, these are Nike, these are.
Oh yeah.
That seat is.
Bro, that
so...
happened. All right, this is off topic, but when I was in 3rd grade, there was this kid. He wasn't the brightest. And anyway, someone had a Nike backpack. He's like, "Yo, did someone named Nick leave their backpack here?" I was like, "Oh, come on, man."
It's so sad, but it's a wonderful film. I'd like to hear what you guys' ratings are. Out of 10.
Rate out of 10. Man, jeez. Oh my gosh, Moo, I know your rating, so like it's.
Yeah,
I don't
yeah.
want to.
Oh no,
you.
I'll never take any offense
Okay.
to a rating because it's subjective.
I'm gonna stick close to a 9 because it definitely wasn't like my favorite film that I think
course,
films hit me harder than that and left like I don't know but I really think it's up there on the list for me. I don't know if I can give it a supreme 10, but I'm gonna say 9. I'm gonna give it a high.
Supreme.
Yeah, supreme.
All right. I'm gonna give it an 8.5 out of 10.
Okay, the decimal system's out.
Sorry, not to.
Oh no,
Not
of
to
course.
break out the
I've been
decimal
there too.
system. Yeah.
Tommy.
All right, like I myself, I've like compared to you guys, I'm not a big movie guy, but
All right.
like I've watched like good Moo Hill recommended movies, and I don't know, this one it was really good, but it didn't really like leave an impact on me like Michael said. So I'm gonna have to go like maybe 8 out of 10 because it was a really
Alright.
good movie.
Very good.
It just frustrated me at the end because I didn't find the killer.
That's
So I was
fair.
like,
That's
oh.
fair.
Yeah, I feel like that, what Nick said, like it frustrated you at the end. So I like having like the classic like subtle ending and being like left off, like knowing like what happened and stuff.
Fair enough.
I don't know, that's just like my opinion. I like that more than being left on the edge, but I really enjoyed the story and how it relayed back like to it was real, and I definitely thought it was interesting. I've never really watched foreign films before, so I thought that was definitely new, and I really enjoyed that. So yeah, I figured. So I'm gonna have to give it an 8 out of 10 as well.
All right. I mean, you already know. I said it's one of my favorite films. I mean, so don't think that I'm a type of guy that just rates movies super high with this and The Lobster, because the thing is, the movies I recommend are all like top tier movies for me. Like, I'm not recommending any of the countless 6s out of 10s and 7s out of 10s, because I want to show these people some movies I personally very much enjoy. So this one is, for me, of course, a no-brainer for me, a 10 out of 10.
Wow.
Wow.
A masterpiece for me.
So
And-
it's perfect in your eyes.
It's
more or
perfect.
less?
I can't think of a single thing I had a problem with.
Wow.
Another perfect movie that I recommended to Tommy Boy. This is not my recommendation
All right, noted.
because I'll save it for another episode, because next week is a special episode.
Very
But
true.
one that I recommend Tommy Boy that I highly recommend everyone to check out, another 10 out of 10 for me, Funny Games US. It'll
Netflix, Prime.
it might frustrate you. I think that was one that might have left an impact, maybe.
Yeah, I had this really like ominous feeling for like the rest of the day, and I showed it to my friends, and then they like had the same feeling of like, instead of like, oh, that was a good movie, they're like, what did I just watch?
I
Yeah.
love,
Wow.
That's the voice crack.
That's some
That's
Donnie
what I
Darko.
love. Yeah,
Oh,
I
trust
love
me,
movies
Don.
like that.
Oh
Yeah,
my gosh,
Darko,
this
yeah.
movie,
Black Mirror.
like, let me put it this way. Funny Games US is without a doubt one of the most disturbing films I've ever seen, and it's technically speaking not that violent.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right.
It's
Thank you.
just on another level. So now my recommendation for next week, so we're not having an episode next Friday because, this has been long awaited. We're having our Christmas special. Ho, 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 motherfuckers. But, so we're going to be talking about a Christmas movie. I'm not stuttering, motherfuckers. This Christmas movie is just like, it's on another level. What?
do you think
No. Trust me. What do you think I am? So this might be probably one of the more recognizable movies we speak about on the podcast. It's one of the more mainstream movies we speak about. But I'm sorry, I can't even though it's mainstream, that doesn't mean it's bad because this movie is just a flat-out masterpiece. It's action Christmas classic, Die Hard.
And you know, next week's the Christmas special, so we're gonna have some big plans lined up.
Big.
Yeah. So maybe some hints for the special guests, because I think these are confirmed.
All right.
You already know the first special guest, same hint as last time.
Wait. Our first special guest is our first recurring guest on the podcast.
Oh, you could put it that.
He's been a guest before, and this is the first time we've had a repeat. So
Or she.
that's up to you.
Or she.
Who is it? Kayla, Rock on Memes, TK, Trom.
Smalls. Who else?
Embarrassing.
Kayla.
We already said.
TK.
I don't think we've had 12 episodes, but not 12
Yeah, we've had.
So, yeah.
Oh, Chaz.
Chaz, yeah, Chaz.
For those committed episode 10 listeners,
Our
Chaz.
second special guest
Respect.
is the survivor of the horrific month.
Oh, let me put it this way. It's a doozy.
Let's just say, with great volume comes great division.
That's true.
Is
with
it bad
great
that
volume comes
I
great
don't even
division.
know who this special guest is, so I'm on edge. I'm on edge
You'll
too.
know.
You know what they say?
A bird in the hand is worth
Once. Let me put it this way. Dead.